Taiwan, I'm Reece with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council says cross-strait trade should not be used as a political tool. That's after China says it will allow imports of pomelo from certain Taiwanese farms. Taiwan's Agriculture Ministry says 174 farms and 33 packing facilities have been approved by Beijing, but says the decision was not made through government-to-government channels. These farms are all in Hualien County, which is controlled by the opposition KMT.
那其实各个地方政府如果想要让它的文旦可以出口的话，那也欢迎来跟我们可以来做相关的交流，我们都可以来做分享。
Beijing suspended imports of Taiwanese citrus fruits in 2022. China is urging its citizens to leave Taiwan's only diplomatic ally in Africa, Eswatini, citing security risks. The Chinese Foreign Ministry says Eswatini has problems with cyber fraud and crime linked to gambling and told its citizens to relocate to other countries. Eswatini is one of Taiwan's 12 remaining diplomatic allies. China has been trying to get the African kingdom to switch recognition from Taipei to Beijing. Nvidia is predicting a 70% jump in revenue in the next fiscal year, riding high on soaring demand for AI computing. The chipmaker's forecast, announced during Wednesday's earnings call, far exceeds Wall Street's average estimate of 44% growth. But Nvidia says shortages of memory components and rising memory costs could squeeze its expansion. The company's second quarter revenue more than doubled from a year earlier, driven by demand for its data center products. It's also the first time Nvidia has issued a revenue forecast a full year in advance, a move that could help ease investor concerns of an AI bubble. The AI boom is sending memory chip prices skyrocketing, prompting Morgan Stanley analysts to coin a new term, Chipflation. To assess the forces driving chipflation and its geopolitical implications, reporter Lily Lematina spoke to Chris Miller, author of Chip War.
We're hearing the term chipflation. The shortage in memory chips is pushing up prices for electronic devices, such as phones and computers. Chris, what's driving this trend, and is it temporary or long-term?
The key driver of higher memory prices is, of course, the boom in development of AI data centers over the past couple of years, and the expectation that that's going to continue very rapidly growing for the next couple of years. And there's just a supply-demand mismatch in the memory chip market that's resulted with memory companies being constrained in their ability to bring online new supply for at least the next 18 months or 24 months or so. But then at some point, memory firms will bring online more capacity, and when they do, prices will certainly begin to come down.
AI has turned memory from a relatively commoditized component into a strategic resource. How is this changing the geopolitics of semiconductors as Chinese players enter the market?
Thus far, we've seen memory be primarily a sphere dominated by non-Chinese players, by Korea first and foremost, but also US, Japan, and Taiwan. And I think it's strategically important that that doesn't change too much. And it's particularly interesting right now because of the emergence of new Chinese players, companies like YMTC and NAND memory, CXMT in DRAM memory. And these firms, because they're benefiting from such extensive state support, are unlikely to be solely focused on market dynamics, on the cycle. They're also likely to have the ability to invest extensively during downturns in the industry. And so one of the fears that you hear from the existing memory players is that as Chinese firms enter the market, they're going to be able to invest even when it's not economic to do so, therefore win market share, and therefore push down prices not just at the top of the cycle, but also keep them structurally lower.
Apple is reportedly seeking to buy chips from China. The Trump administration initially pushed back, but may now allow it ahead of President Xi's visit to the US. In your view, is this a solution to the supply problem?
It's in some ways, I think, understandable that companies are turning to any option they can to source the chips that they need, including Chinese producers. But there's real long-run risks here. We've seen in certain types of low-end chips, like those that go in automobiles, that China's been able to use this as a tool to threaten manufacturing output more broadly across the Western world. We should be very hesitant about any sort of policies that make Western supply chains more dependent on Chinese semiconductors. Memory thus far has not been dependent, but of course, CXMT and YMTC are investing very heavily. Their market share is still small, but it's grown at a very rapid pace. And if this continues, there are risks, not next year or the year after, but into the 2030s, that China becomes a much more significant player in the memory industry. And if so, that is inevitably going to have not just commercial, but also, I think, broader geopolitical ramifications.
That was Chris Miller, author of Chip War. Meta has settled a US lawsuit over young people's social media addiction for nearly $18 billion. The landmark settlement will see the tech giant make major changes to access to Facebook and Instagram. Changes include a 2-hour daily limit for teenagers, overnight restrictions, and stronger safeguards against age-restricted content. The agreement applies to most US states.
In the coming months, our children and teens will be safer on Instagram and on Facebook. As big as Meta is, it doesn't stand alone. We're continuing our fight across social media, including our litigation against TikTok.
Meta has called on other social media platforms, TikTok and YouTube, to adopt the new rules. As temperatures in Japan hit record highs this summer, people are finding innovative ways to beat the heat. Laurel Stewart finds out how.
Extreme heat is changing life in Japan. And as summers get hotter, people trying to cool down are thinking outside the box, even if that means getting inside one. This warehouse worker in Osaka is getting a quick cool down in the so-called human fridge.
It's great. I've only been in there about 2 minutes, but even that was enough for all my sweat to dry. I'm already using it every day during my breaks.
The fridge blows chilly 5-degree air on those inside, and it's designed for spaces where conventional cooling methods don't work.
Even though air conditioners and spot coolers can cool a room, in the distribution business, there are inevitably areas that are exposed to outside air. By going inside that refrigerator, a person's body can be cooled in an instant to a safe temperature. That made me think we definitely want to install one of these.
And for those without a fridge, some are turning to laser hair removal.
I do this because of the heat. Areas like the underarms and undergarment regions tend to get sweaty more easily, so I feel more comfortable with this treatment.
And as the mercury rises, this Tokyo clinic says its business is booming.
When we first started, about 11 years ago, it was fairly common to have appointment slots available. Nowadays, we actually have so many bookings that it can be difficult for clients to secure appointments.
Extreme heat fueled by climate change is affecting countries around the world. Earlier this year, Japan's weather agency started using a new term for when temperatures go over 40 degrees, literally meaning a cruelly hot day. Japan has seen 9 such days this year. And it's not just humans trying to ward off the heat. These pet jackets with built-in fans are proving to be hot items.
There's so much attention to them from the foreign countries as well, from Europe especially, because now they are also suffering from immense heat. So I think these kind of things are needed not only in Japan, but everywhere around the world now.
With Japanese officials recently rolling out programs to help beat the heat, it's more than a matter of personal comfort. It's a national priority. So as global temperatures continue to rise, who knows what cool solutions will come next? Dolphin Chen, Billy Sweetman and Laurel Stewart for TaiwanPlus.
It's Ghost Month in Taiwan, when supernatural stories and folk beliefs are at the forefront of spiritual practices. Many of the country's best-known tales feature female ghosts, often reflecting the social constraints that women faced in the past. Ting Ye has the story.
台湾的鬼都是穿白色衣服的，而且要穿长长。然后一般都是男生还是女生？女生。啊，为什么是女生？头发都很乱。啊，对。我们这次讲的3个鬼故事里头，就有2个都是女生。女生都很精彩哦，非常高兴，有没有？
It's Ghost Month in Taiwan, when tales of the spirit world are in the spotlight. Female ghosts feature prominently among Taiwan's best-known ghost stories, including Chen Shounyang, whose lore is rooted in the southern city of Tainan. This year, the city is revisiting her story with a walking tour linked to her legend.
台湾通史里面，他有提到说，在台南有这个闹鬼的事情，所以我们就常讲说，这是一个有记载在历史上面的一个故事。那另外最重要的一个证据，其实就是在孔庙的结孝祠里面，陈守良的牌位。
Accounts of Chen Shounyang's life vary, but most versions begin with the death of her husband.
陈守良他的先生林寿已经往生了，他已经发誓，甚至在心里面已经有一个定见，终身非林寿不嫁。结果这一位在台湾府当文书的一位师爷，他竟然看上陈守良。
婆婆和小姑子说你会再嫁不可了，但我偏偏就不是不嫁了，我要守寡了。结果当人家打给他，那我满身都流水还是。
In those days, women themselves had limited economic independence. However, a widow's remarriage could bring financial benefits to her deceased husband's family. Chen Shounyang refused to remarry, a decision that, according to legend, ultimately led to her death. She is said to have returned as a vengeful ghost, taking revenge on those who pressured her to remarry and demanding a memorial tablet of her own. But why was widowhood so important?
没有什么地方好讲啊，就是一金剑。
In Qing-era Taiwan, widows who remained chaste could receive official recognition, including a place in a shrine dedicated to chaste and filial women.
女性的好命与否要看你婚嫁过去的夫家的情况。到了夫家之后呢，你还要拼的是你往生时候的那个位置。你要成为有后代祭祀的祖先，你要有条件，就是你要出丁，你要生儿子。
Ethnic Han Chinese migration brought patrilineal kinship systems and ancestral worship to Taiwan. These traditions shaped not only a woman's place in the family, but also some of the island's ghost lore.
那这些都跟女性成鬼之后的一个危害有关系，它反而形成了一个很有意思的一个议题，就是说，这世界人死后都会成鬼，那没有后代祭祀的就是孤魂野鬼。
In folktales, some of these women after death gained something they had little of in life: power.
所以平权这件事情在古代是没有的。那如果在法律没有办法规范的情况之下，只能够有一种东西，就是用一个心灵上面的寄托。所以透过这样子的故事，我们会发现，其实在台湾有很多的故事都是讲究女性她得到冤屈，到后来不行，化为厉鬼。
Today, Chen Shounyang's legend had found new life in the historical fantasy comic, Guardian. Rather than retelling a simple story of suffering and revenge, it focuses on women who are still alive.
我每次看恐怖电影，我都这样觉得，就是如果死掉那么厉害的话，为什么要活着？
Guardian has since been licensed in 11 languages, making it one of Taiwan's most widely translated original comics.
我唯一希望他们了解，就是我不希望守娘的原文用他那个时代的价值观传播出去。因为我觉得他的原文散发的是一种，他是守贞是一件好事情这件事情，其他我都认为读者他们可以自由的去解释。
Ghosts remain an integral part of Taiwan's folklore, but it is the living who tell their tales, and stories change with the times. Yuan Duan, Andy Xie, Isabel Wang, and Ting Ye for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Finally, we leave you with images of dancers competing at the World Tango Championship in Buenos Aires. I'm Reece. Take care and see you next time.